You don't have to do anything for your kids except protect and honor who they are. And recognize that who they are is extremely conscious, extremely honest, and don't train them to abandon themselves. Don't train them to become facsimiles of themselves and robots and to betray themselves. Just don't. You were, I was, we didn't, well, I wasn't so much, but most people were. And our world is really messed up because of it, because nobody is living an authentic, I don't want to say nobody, more and more people are living authentic lives, but it does mean you have to confront the oppressive forces that told you you weren't allowed to. So I'd say, I'm a fighting spirit. You can clearly see that. I am ready to take you down before I will abandon myself. And I think that that is the nature that we have to cultivate now. It's like, I've said this to you personally, and I'll say it. The first commandment is not to have false gods. Parental or authority figure approval is a false god. You can have their support, you can have it as a preference, but if their approval comes at the cost of you betraying yourself, that's a false god, and you are making a big mistake.
So how do you find, I mean, this is something I personally have struggled with. We've talked about it quite a bit. You know, how do you tap into that courage?
You let the people who are asking you to betray yourself, that you can't do that, and you say it lovingly, I can't do that. I'm sorry it makes you uncomfortable. I'm not responsible for your emotions. I can only live my truth, and I love you, and if who I am makes you uncomfortable, then I guess we can't be around each other very much, but I'm not going to change and be fake to be in relationship with you because you're not in relationship with me. You're only in relationship with some controlled idea. So I can't do that. And I love you. Sorry. Would you would you ask your children? It's like, please come to dinner, but before you come to dinner, do not show up as who you are, show up as who I want you to be. Would you ever do that in a million years?
No, but you know, like for me, I know I have been really consciously trying to allow them to do that. I find myself actually becoming more of a relaxed parent because I want them to learn from themselves. Maybe sometimes I need to set more boundaries and structure.
Well, apparently you use your common sense. You don't let a 2-year-old decide when they can cross the street, but you certainly let them know that you trust that eventually they won't be able to make that choice. You need to let you do yourself is you don't try to indoctrinate your children to anything. Because they are much too vibrationally aware of the truth. And if you're trying to tell them, do as I want you to do, even though I'm failing, that confuses them just as much. What you need to do is say, I'm learning to trust myself. We all need to trust ourselves, and we need to communicate so that we do trust ourselves. And so we're all together in this. I've raised my daughters that way. There are 2 grown women now who completely trust themselves. And that is all I've ever been. My assignment was to raise them to be and trust who they really are at the highest level of who they are. I wasn't permissive. I remember when my daughter was 15 and acting out and whatever, I said, I'm not going to be a gotcha parent. I am not going to do that. If you want to act out, you own that. You own that creepy behavior, and you tell me you're making those creepy choices, and you take responsibility for them. And I will not show up to help you. So she said, okay. I said, just don't lie to me. Just if you want to do all the creepy things you're doing, go right for it. Have that experience, but you can't be fake with me. And that ended it. We had no more problems. That was the end of it. We've had an authentic, sometimes she did things I thought were creepy. That doesn't mean she did what I wanted, but at least I knew that she was doing them, and she would self-correct sometimes in the middle of it. She'd say, I'm going to the party, or I'm going to go on this trip where really it's probably not safe for me, and return. So I think you can hold space to give yourself a minute to find your truth, to find your inner guidance. Give it a minute, because the habits die hard and it will rise. Don't expect it to be Give it space. Allow it to come forward.